Okay, can we start? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Next is we'll go for schemes for micro pension. Okay, so all these schemes for micro pension, scheme for insurance, all these are actually part of financial inclusion. So if a question is asked, if it is essay, all these things has to be incorporated. Okay, not only starting bank accounts and all these will come under the financial inclusion. Okay, so next you can write schemes for micro pension. Schemes for micro pension. So in that you can start with NPS, new pension scheme. New pension scheme. It was later renamed as National Pension System. I'll discuss that, but now just write new pension scheme. In bracket, if you want, you can write National Pension System. It was renamed as National Pension System later. New pension scheme, it was actually initiated in 1st Jan 2004. Okay, for central government employees except armed forces. So when it was started, it was for central government employees except armed forces. Now before that, that means before 1st Jan 2004, before NPS, the pension, it is actually, the benefit is actually defined, right? So pension, we can say it is based on defined benefit. It is based on defined benefit, right? That means pension will be defined. Okay, so it is like approximately half of the last salary. So those who actually joined in service before 2004, they have this fixed benefit, that the defined benefit is there. That means fixed pension, defined pension is there, almost half of the last salary. But now it is defined contribution. Defined contribution. So in NPS, it is, the contribution is actually defined, and you can see here there are two types of contribution: tier 1 contribution and tier 2 contribution. Okay, so in tier 1 contribution, the employee and the government both will contribute. How much employee will contribute? 10% of basic pay and dearness allowance. Okay, so 10% employee will contribute, and exactly the same contribution will come from the government also. So whatever employee will contribute, that 10%, exactly the government will also contribute. Okay, and it will be invested in mutual funds, etc. That we will discuss later. So this is tier 1. Now can you withdraw this tier 1 contribution anytime? You cannot withdraw this. Okay, it is only upon retirement you can withdraw this. There may be exceptional situations, but generally it cannot be withdrawn. Tier 2, here there is a limitation. It is like 10% only, because government is also contributing. So in case of tier 2, any amount you can invest in tier 2. Okay, so what about government contribution here in tier 2? There is no government contribution. Okay, so tier 2, there is no government contribution. This is actually voluntary. So tier 2, it is voluntary. This is compulsory. Tier 1 is actually compulsory. So tier 1, 10% you have to contribute, and government also contribute the same. Tier 2, if you need more saving, if you want, you can even go for 50%, 60%, 70%, or entire salary you can put here. Okay, so but there won't be any government contribution here. Now what will be done with this contribution? It will be actually invested in shares and bonds. Okay, so it will actually going to be invested in securities by AMC. What do you mean by AMC? Asset Management Company. Okay, so this AMC, what is AMC, what is the role, what is the function, we will discuss when I discuss about mutual funds. So different mutual funds are having their separate AMCs. AMC is not a separate company. It is not a company. It is within mutual fund. There is a wing. That is what you mean by AMC. They will asset management company. What is the assets of the mutual fund? It is the shares and bonds, right? So the shares and bonds are actually managed by the asset management company. That is a wing within mutual fund. So we will be talking about AMC etc. later, but now just understand this asset management company will decide which shares to be bought, which bonds to be invested, or bonds, government bonds anyway, which shares to be bought, etc. Okay, so government actually appointed AMCs of 3 mutual funds: UTI, Unit Trust of India, SBI Mutual Fund, and LIC Mutual Fund for this. Okay, so 3 mutual funds are there. The asset management company will be taking care of this investments under the NPS. Now, in which proportion this will be invested? 60% will be bonds and 40% shares. Okay, so it is actually auto option. If you are not opting anything, this will be invested in this way. Okay, the your contribution will be invested in this way, but you can opt different also. But here, when we discuss about this 40% in share, you may think that there will be a risk involved here, but we are talking about long term. So long term shares may not be risky, and this UTI, SBI, their asset management companies deciding the shares, so they will they will have complete idea. They might have conducted the viability study and everything would have been done. So accordingly only they will select the shares, so there won't be any risk here, even though 40% is going to shares. So what I'm saying is, the investment NPS tier 1, tier 2 will be invested in this proportion. This is an auto option. Okay, but if you wish, you can give the different options also. Invest in shares and bonds in different ways. Now the return here, if you see from bonds, you will get what? You will get interest, and from shares there will be dividend. Okay, so shares, there will be dividend, and the share value will also increase. So that will be your return. The return will be in the form of interest and dividend. Okay. Now, when you talk about the employee, the investment that the employee is doing, it depends on what all. So investment, if you see here, investment depends on 3 aspects, right? One is income, and then the contribution in tier 2. Contribution in tier 2, and also duration of job. So these are the 3 things has to be taken into consideration to calculate the investment. Now, one more thing, this is applicable for those people who joined only after 2004. Okay, see, you might have joined in 2003 and still you may be working in 2004, 2005, 2007, 2020 also you may be working, but this is not applicable for those people who joined before. Why? That is a breach of contract, right? You cannot do that. When you are joining the job, you are getting the joining letter. Under that, there are certain conditions, pensions and everything is there. So now suddenly, if you are asked to move towards this, it is a breach of contract. So actually, only those people who joined after 2004 will be coming under this. Okay. Now, there is some discussion like 1 rank, 1 pension. Any idea about that? 1 rank, 1 pension. Can anyone explain this? 1 rank, 1 pension.
The retired from one designation will all get the same pension.
Yeah. So this is related to mainly defense, right? The discussion is going especially with respect to defense. So the guaranteed pension, that is related to. Okay. So let's suppose you are retired as a colonel. Okay. So you retired as a colonel. Now if you see, let's say 20 years back, if you retired, you know the salary was so less before 20 years. Let's say salary is 20,000. So what would be the pension? I've told you it is defined pension. So you will be drawing, let's say 10,000. So this is a pension because salary at that time was very low, like 20-30 years back. So this is a pension you are getting now, and the living expense is so high now, and you are living with very less amount, because it is a defined pension, right? 20,000 was the salary, half is what you are getting, and you keep on getting that. But the living expense is so high now. Now let's suppose a new colonel who is resigning now. What is the salary? Let's say now the salary, if you see, it will be like 1 lakh. Okay, so what is the pension that he is getting? He is getting 50,000. So both are retired with the same rank, both retired in the same rank, but there is a difference in pension. So, but the living expense is same for both these people, right? So that is why this question of same one rank, one pension is there, basically to update to the new scale. So if these people would have been given salary as per these people, then they would also get this. So actually they should be updated to the new scale, because salary have been changed, so you need to update. So this is actually under consideration. So their demand is pension should be revised. It is under consideration, but the problem is the burden will increase, right? So if this is given, if it is accepted, the government burden will actually increase. So if you increase this, government burden will increase. So fiscal reforms is actually required. So that will be a big problem. Okay. Here actually the issues, main issue is what? Salary increased over a period of time, right? And at the same time, life expectancy also increased. Life expectancy also increased. So pension and burden on the government is already so high. Within that, old people are also coming again, and if they're asking for, pension should be revised, then that will be a big burden for the government, but still it is under consideration. So that's about one rank, one pension scheme. This was a question before. Now, one more. In 2009, this NPS was extended to all citizens under all citizen model. Under all citizen model. So NPS was actually extended to all people with the age group 18 to 60. Okay, so you can actually open an NPS account in banks and you can deposit any amount. There is no limit, like tier 2. In case of central government employees, we discussed about tier 2, no? So here there is no such tier 1, tier 2. You can deposit any amount, no restriction. But will there be any government contribution here? No, because central government employees, the tier 1, you will deposit 10% of the salary, government contribution will be there. Second, tier 2, only you will deposit, there is no government contribution. Exactly like this, any amount you can deposit, there won't be any contribution. But you will start getting pension after 60 years. So it's a kind of, investment for the future. And, this PRAN, this is a permanent retirement account number, and all these things will be there. So it is actually an investment scheme, okay? So for the future. Now who's
Plus he will get so he will also get some benefit in income tax also, right?
Yeah, income tax.
In ATC.
Yes. That ATC you will get. Okay, now who's managing this records? NSDL, that is National Securities Depository Limited. NSDL is maintaining or managing all these records. Okay, so it was actually established as SDL before. SDL initially for managing the demat trading account, but now other things also. It is actually the Central Record Keeping Agency. So NSDL is the Central Record Keeping Agency, and the NPS related data is also actually managed by the NSDL, Central Record Keeping Agency. The GST network, when we discuss about taxation, we will talk about GST. There we will discuss about GST network. So GST network is actually established by NSDL, and PAN card is also actually managed by NSDL. Okay, so we will revisit this again when we discuss about GST and all these cases in the module taxation. So what I'm saying is, this is the NPS account, NPS details, PRAN, etc. is actually managed by NSDL. Okay, do you want to write down anything here, or nothing is required? I've told. I hope you might have taken down the notes. Anything you want me to repeat? Okay, so can we continue? Next is Suave Scheme. It was launched in 2010. Okay, so it is basically for unorganized sector. Okay, that means those people who are not covered under any statutory pension scheme. So those people who are not covered under any other pension scheme, Swavalamban is applicable for them. Okay. So here you will have a NPS account. So in that you can deposit money between 1,000 to 12,000 per annum. Okay, so what the government will pay? Government will contribute, let's say 1,000 per year for 5 years. So 1,000 per year for 5 years. Okay, so why this limit 12,000? So only between 10,000 to 12,000 per annum government will contribute. Government will contribute, this is fixed contribution, this is 1,000, that is not varying. Then why this limit 12,000? Even if it is 25,000 also government will contribute 10,000 only. Why? What do you think is the logic of this? Why it is fixed as 12,000?
It may be a focus on lower salaried people or labor.
Yeah, because if you keep it as like 25,000 and all, other people can also invest, and why government need to support those people who can, invest 25,000, 30,000 for the investment. So for that purpose, it is kept as 12,000. Why it is more than 1,000 then? Why not less than 1,000?
Because government is giving 1,000 per annum.
No, not because of that. Otherwise, maybe the person will go and deposit 1 rupee. Okay.
Yeah, that's what.
So government will give 1,000, and then 1,000 again in the next year, then 1,000 again in the next year, then 1,000 again in the next year, one more 1,000. So government will give 5,000. But this person might have invested only 1 rupee. So only because of that, it has fixed like minimum 1,000 and maximum 12,000. So for not misusing, it is minimum 1,000, and if you have more than 12,000 to deposit, then you don't want the support of the government. Okay? Any doubts? So this is actually a micro pension scheme. The other one I would say investment scheme, but this is micro pension scheme. Okay, now in 2011 government initiated NPS Corporate Model. What is that? Corporate Model? Any idea? In 2011, what is NPS Corporate Model?
Extended to private sector also.
Yeah, what exactly we discussed in case of central government employees. If the private sector, if any company want to give pension to their employee, the private company can also start this. Okay, so there will be like similarly tier 1, tier 2 will be there. So the company can contribute like the way government contribute. For example, 10% the employee will contribute and 10% the company can contribute. So that will be the tier 1, and in case of tier 2, any amount that they can do. So just like government employee, here instead of government, the company, the employer. So if government is the employer in case of central government employees, so here the company is the employer. So what government is doing, exactly the same the company will do. So post 60 they will get the pension. Okay, so if the companies want to give pension, they can also start. So that is what NPS Corporate Model. Okay, so after this it was renamed to National Pension System. Now, is there any fixed pension here? Like what we have discussed in the beginning, see those who joined before 2004, what is defined? Their pension is defined. Here what is defined? Here the contribution is defined. What is that? 10% of the basic pay and DA, dearness allowance. So contribution is defined here. Pension is not defined. Why pension is not defined? Can you tell me why pension is not defined?
Because it depends on market.
Yeah, because this what you invest is actually the corpus, right? The 10% that you are investing, that is what you call as the corpus, right? 10% from your side, the employee, and 10% from the government, or I would say employee. So employer. Okay, employer and employee. So this will be the corpus, and if there is a tier 2, that will also be part of it. and this will be invested in, I've told you, government securities or bonds and shares. Okay, bonds, shares, and this return is based on what? Interest and the dividend. So dividend means what? Dividend is actually connected to the company's profit. In which company you have invested, it is a company's profit, right? So dividend we have discussed before, that let's say the profit of the company is 10 lakh, out of which you will pay corporate income tax. Let's say 30% is paid, that means 3 lakh is paid out as tax. Balance is 7 lakh. Out of the 7 lakh, you can distribute it to the shareholder. Okay, so let's suppose 1 lakh. 1 lakh shareholders are there. So what is the dividend? Per share rupees 7 is the dividend. Now there is a different scenario. Let's say 2 lakh is keeping as undistributed profit. That means you are not taking out, you are investing it back in the company. So you call this as undistributed profit. Okay, so how much you will distribute now? 3 lakh is paid as tax, 2 lakh is reinvested, that is what we call as undistributed profit, and this 5 lakh will be distributed among 1 lakh shareholders. So per share, how much will be the dividend? 5 rupee will be the dividend. Okay, so this is what you mean by dividend. So dividend is the return here. So can we say this will vary because based on the profit of the company? Yes, it will vary based on the profit of the company. That is the reason why there is no fixed pension here. Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now in 2015, which one? Adult Pension Yojana. Adult Pension Yojana. So APY. So the age group is here 18 to 40 years. 18 to 40 years. So 5 different possibilities are there. 5 different accounts are there. So this is actually a fixed pension. This is a fixed pension scheme like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Okay, so I will show you in a table like so let's suppose age of joining. Okay, so based on that it will vary. Let's say 18 years to 40 years, right? 18 to 40. 18 to 40. Okay, so their contribution will be different. 18 to 40, the contribution will be different. So for 1k and for 2k, for 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, the contribution will be different, right? So I don't want to tell each age, but I will give you for a rough idea for 1 or 2 cases. For 18 and 40 we will discuss. So for 1,000 you need to invest 42. Okay, so in case 40 years you need to invest 291 rupee. Okay, so you can see here 291. Why? Because this is 18 year, you are joining so early, so investment is less, so that you will start getting pension after 60 years. Okay, so after 60 years getting 1,000, that is okay, we are not talking about that, whether this 1,000 is going to do anything. We are not interested in discussing that, but this is the adult pension yojana. So if you need to get 5,000, what you need to do? 42 into 5. Okay, what is that? 210. So exactly, if it is 1,000, this is a premium. So 5,000 means exactly 5 times. Similarly, 291 into 5. So that will be 1455, right? So 1455, yes. So this should be the premium. Okay. Now the scheme that we have discussed, the Swavalamban that we have discussed now, that Swavalamban will be automatically shifted to APY. Once this was established, the Swavalamban scheme automatically shifted to Adult Pension Yojana unless you don't opt out of it. If you opt out of it, if you wish to be in Swavalamban, then it is fine. Because in Swavalambhan, what is the contribution? Your contribution is from 1000 to 12,000 contribution we have discussed. So automatically those who are in Swavalambhan will be shifted to APY. But you can opt out of it. That means, can I say both are parallelly going on? Both are there. It is not replaced Swavalambhan. Yes, both are there. You might see that Swavalambhan is shifted to APY, but it is not the case that Swavalambhan is replaced with APY. Swavalambhan is going on. APY, Adult Pension Yojana is also there, but Swavalambhan automatically shifted to APY. But if you want to, you can opt out of it and you can remain in this itself. Okay. So that's about micro pension.
Excuse me, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, I'm confused here. So that means that Swavalambhan and Adult Pension Yojana, both schemes are now valid.
Yeah, both are there. Actually, when Adult Pension Yojana came, those people who were opted for Swavalambhan, they were shifted to Adult Pension Yojana. They were given an opportunity that if you wish to, you can opt out of Adult Pension Yojana and you can remain in Swavalambhan.
Okay, so if they wanted to, they can remain back in Swavalambhan scheme.
Yeah, if they want to, they can remain in Swavalambhan. Automatically, they will be shifted to APY. But still, if you want to remain in Swavalambhan, you can remain in Swavalambhan.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now next is, so fifth one, schemes for micro insurance. So we discussed about micro credit, we discussed about micro pension, now micro insurance. So scheme for micro insurance.